Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something powerful, something profound, and something that should excite you as you look at your life. Why God keeps you alive after 60 years. Why does God keep you alive after 60 years? This question carries a profound significance because it speaks to the heart of life's purpose. Life is not measured by the number of years you've lived, but by the purpose you've fulfilled and the impact you've made. If you find yourself standing at the threshold of your 60th year or beyond, there is something important you need to recognize. God is not finished with you yet. He still has a plan for your life. Every breath you take, every moment you experience is an opportunity to live out the destiny that God has laid before you. The fact that you are still alive after all these years is a clear sign that your purpose is still unfolding. God does not allow you to survive for no reason. The years you've lived up until now have been preparation for what's yet to come. The wisdom you've accumulated, the lessons you've learned, and the experiences you've had are not just markers of time, but the tools and foundation for the work God has entrusted to you. As you reflect on the life you've lived, you might look at the challenges, the triumphs, and even the failures and ask yourself what it all means. The truth is, everything that you've been through has been part of God's divine preparation for what is to come. You are not a product of random events. Your life is a carefully orchestrated series of steps that have positioned you exactly where you need to be for this moment. You are living proof that God's plans for you are bigger than you might have realized. Your life, your experiences, and the gifts you possess have been gathered and developed for a reason. God doesn't give life to His children for it to be wasted. You may have thought that after a certain age your purpose had been fulfilled, that your role in life had already been played out. But God is not bound by the limitations of human time. The reason you're still here is because you still have a purpose to fulfill. Your life has a trajectory, and that trajectory does not end when you reach a certain age. It is only just beginning. The legacy you are meant to leave is not defined by the years you've lived, but by what you've contributed to the lives of others, what you've shared with the world, and how you've aligned yourself with God's eternal purpose. After 60 years, you are at a pivotal point in your life. Your years have granted you a wealth of knowledge, understanding, and perspective that you didn't have when you were younger. It is in this phase that you are called to step into a new season of influence, of guidance, and of leadership. Your voice now carries the weight of experience. Your words are not just those of an elder, but of someone who has lived through the highs and lows of life. Someone who has weathered storms and come out stronger. You have a unique ability to influence others, to guide those who are still navigating life's uncertainties. But with that influence comes a responsibility. Just because you've lived many years does not mean that you have reached the end of your journey. God has given you this extended time on earth so that you can continue to serve, to lead, to teach, and to give. Age should never be seen as a limitation, but as an opportunity. The best years of your life could still be ahead of you, waiting to be filled with purpose-driven action. Your spiritual journey continues even in your later years. God is not finished refining you. In fact, your spiritual life may have more room to deepen and grow. There's a unique kind of intimacy with God that develops as you age. With every year that passes, you are given the chance to draw nearer to Him, to trust Him more, and to understand His will with greater clarity. Your faith becomes not just a personal journey, but a testimony of God's faithfulness. You've seen His hand at work in your life in ways that others may not yet understand, and now you have the opportunity to share that testimony. You have a responsibility to pass on what you've learned. There are people younger than you who need your wisdom, your guidance, and your encouragement. They need to hear your story and learn from your journey. The world needs your example of perseverance, your example of faith, your example of love. Your life speaks volumes, and God has kept you here to be a beacon of light for others. You are not just here to exist. Your mission is not over. Whether you are retired, still working, or volunteering in your community, there is always work to do. Your purpose is not tied to a particular role or occupation. It is tied to God's will for your life. If you're still breathing, if you're still walking on this earth, then God has something for you to do. Every day is a new opportunity to walk in His will, to serve others, and to glorify His name. God did not create you to sit idly by, to passively wait for the end. He created you to be a vessel of His love, to be a mentor, to be a helper, to be an example, and to leave a legacy that will impact future generations. Your age is not a barrier to fulfilling your purpose. It is an asset. It is the wisdom, strength, and resilience that comes with experience that equips you to do even greater things. So if you're still alive after 60, know that your purpose is still unfolding. You still have much to offer, much to contribute, and much to live for. The work you've been called to do is not over. In fact, it may be just beginning. Keep moving forward with faith and trust in God's plan for your life. Your best days are still ahead of you. As we journey through life, we often hear that age brings wisdom, but let's be clear. It doesn't just bring wisdom, it brings legacy. If you've made it to 60, you're standing at a powerful crossroads. The idea that God's plan for you diminishes as you age is a lie. In truth, God's plan for you expands as you grow older. Your impact, your influence, your legacy, these are not limited by the passage of time. In fact, they become stronger, more defined, and more significant. You may have thought that your best days were behind you, that the years spent raising children, building careers, or serving others were the highlights of your life. But hear this. Your greatest contribution to the world is yet to come. At 60, you are standing on the threshold of something remarkable. Age is often seen as the end of one chapter, but it is truly the beginning of another. You've already lived through experiences that have shaped who you are. Every hardship, every victory, every lesson has prepared you for this season. And now, at 60, you have an opportunity to pass the torch. The wisdom you have gained is not for you to hoard. It is for you to share. The experience you've lived through is not just for you to reflect on. It is for you to impart to others. Think about a seed. It doesn't just grow for itself. It grows so that it can produce fruit for the future. The seeds of wisdom, knowledge, and experience you've cultivated over the years are not meant to stay dormant. They are meant to be planted in the lives of others. You have the power to shape the future, to influence those who will come after you, and to leave behind a legacy that impacts generations. You might be thinking, but what can I contribute at this stage of my life? The answer is simple. Everything. The foundation you've built, the lessons you've learned, and the character you've developed are the very things that others need. You are a wellspring of knowledge, a reservoir of strength, and a living testimony of God's grace and faithfulness. Your legacy is not tied to how much time you have left, but to how much you invest in the lives of others. This is your opportunity to mentor, to guide, to teach, and to lead. The younger generations need you. They need your wisdom to navigate the complexities of life, your strength to endure challenges, and your faith to inspire them to keep going. Whether it's through your children, grandchildren, or even your community, you are called to plant seeds that will bear fruit long after you're gone. At 60, you're not winding down. You're preparing to leave a lasting legacy that will ripple through generations to come. God's plan for you has not diminished with age. It has expanded. You are called to impact the future with the power of your story, the depth of your wisdom, and the strength of your character. So ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What will be the mark you leave on this world? Your legacy is not just what you accomplish in your lifetime. It's what you impart to those who will carry the torch long after you. And at 60, you are in the perfect place to begin planting those seeds that will shape the world for years to come. Your legacy is just beginning, and it will echo for generations. At 60, you are not just living day by day. You are a divine investment. Let that sink in for a moment. God, the creator of the universe, has invested in you. Your life is an asset in his kingdom. You are not a mere byproduct of time and chance. You are a strategic, purposeful investment placed on this earth for such a time as this. Imagine the power of that statement. When someone makes an investment, they expect a return, and God is no different. He does not make investments with the intent of leaving them unused or underutilized. Your life is the result of divine intention. And every year you live, every moment you breathe, is an opportunity to fulfill the purpose of that investment. Think about the talents and gifts you've been given. These are not yours to keep. They are God's gift to you to steward and multiply. The skills, the wisdom, the experiences you've gained over the years are not for your own benefit alone. They are tools that God has placed in your hands to serve others, to build his kingdom, and to impact the world around you. God's investment in you is a call to action. He has entrusted you with the ability to create, to lead, to teach, to serve. These gifts are not meant to remain dormant. They are meant to be used for his glory, for the advancement of his kingdom, and for the good of those around you. The more you use them, the greater the return he sees. Every year you live, you are called to invest in others. At 60, you have a wealth of knowledge and experience that the world desperately needs. You are a beacon of light to those who are lost, a guide to those who are searching, and a mentor to those who are struggling. Your life is an example of what it means to walk through the ups and downs, the victories and losses, and come out stronger on the other side. And this isn't just about the big things. Sometimes the greatest impact is made in the small moments. You may not have a platform, but you have influence. You may not have fame, but you have relationships. You may not have wealth, but you have wisdom. Every conversation you have, every decision you make, every action you take can be a reflection of God's love and a tool to advance his kingdom. God's investment in your life is not just about you achieving personal goals or building wealth. It's about the lives you touch, the people you help, and the way you reflect his glory in everything you do. You are here to serve, to lead, and to guide others to the truth. Now think about this. When God invests in someone, he expects them to be fruitful. Your life is meant to produce fruit, good works, faithful service, and eternal impact. You are a conduit for his love and grace, and he wants to use you to pour out blessings on others. But it doesn't stop there. God also expects you to help others recognize their own potential and invest in them. You are not just a resource for today. You are a legacy builder for the future. As you grow older, your life becomes more than just a story. It becomes a movement. Your actions speak louder than words. The way you invest in others, the way you build up the people around you, will determine the impact of your legacy. Remember, God's investment in you is not a passive one. He's watching how you use your time, talents, and resources. The return on his investment in you is not just for you to enjoy. It is for others to benefit from. Every gift he's given you should be used to serve others, to bless others, and to lead others to him. So as you look at your life, know this. God has placed you here with a divine purpose. You are a living testament of his investment. Your life is his gift to the world, and he expects you to maximize that gift for the benefit of his kingdom. Your journey is not over. In fact, it is just beginning. The best investment you can make now is to give back. by using the gifts you've been given to touch the lives of others, to advance the kingdom, and to be a beacon of hope to the world around you. You are a divine investment, and God has placed you here to be fruitful, to multiply, to impact the world in ways you may not even realize. Keep living with purpose, because every moment you have is part of His eternal plan. As you reach the milestone of 60 years, something profound happens. You enter a season of life where God's desire for you is not just to survive, but to thrive spiritually. Age is not a limitation. It is an opportunity. It is a time for spiritual growth and refinement, a time when God draws you closer, inviting you to a deeper level of intimacy with Him. You may have spent many years in the faith, but the journey with God is never complete. There is always more to learn, more to experience, and more to discover in your relationship with the Creator. The beauty of life after 60 is that you now have the wisdom and perspective to fully appreciate the depth of God's love, grace, and purpose for you. This season of life is not about slowing down spiritually. It's about pressing in further. God allows you to live after 60 so you can continue to grow in your faith. It's a time to refine your character, to build your trust in God, and to deepen your understanding of His Word. Your relationship with God can now become more intimate, more personal, more rich in ways you never imagined when you were younger. Think about the process of refinement. In nature, refinement often comes through fire, through pressure, through testing. The gold that is refined in the fire becomes pure, brilliant, and strong. Similarly, the spiritual growth that comes after 60 is about God taking you through a refining process. It's about removing the impurities and making your faith stronger, more resilient, and more pure. God uses the experiences of your life, your triumphs, your struggles, your joys, and your sorrows as tools to shape you into the person He wants you to be. These years are not just for relaxing or reflecting on past accomplishments. They are a continuation of God's work in you. He is molding you, stretching you, and preparing you to be a greater witness of His love and power. In this season of life, your spiritual journey is less about seeking things from God and more about knowing Him. It's less about asking for answers and more about trusting Him in the silence. Your faith becomes not just a belief system, but a deep-rooted connection that allows you to experience God's presence in ways that surpass understanding. This is the kind of faith that others need to see, a faith that is unwavering, a faith that has been tested, and a faith that has been refined. But it's not just about your own spiritual growth. As you grow spiritually, you become an example for others, especially for the younger generation. Your life is now a testimony of how faith can be strong and steady, even in the face of life's challenges. You have walked the journey, and now your walk with God can inspire others to deepen their own faith. At 60, you are no longer just a follower of Christ. You are an example of how to follow Him faithfully for a lifetime. Your spiritual journey is a message to those around you that faith is not something that fades with age. It deepens, it matures, and it becomes even more powerful. God wants to continue refining you, making you more like Him, even as the years go by. And this process of refinement is not about perfection. It's about transformation. It's about letting go of what no longer serves you, whether it's past regrets, old wounds, or limiting beliefs, and embracing the fullness of God's purpose for your life. As you move forward in your spiritual growth, remember that this time is not just for you to enjoy the fruits of your faith, but to pass those fruits on to others. You are called to be a source of encouragement, a vessel of wisdom, and a light for those who are still growing. Your example of perseverance, of faith in the midst of trials, and of a deep connection with God is invaluable to those who are watching you. So embrace this season of spiritual growth and refinement. God has allowed you to live not just to accumulate years, but to accumulate wisdom, to deepen your relationship with Him, and to become a living example of His love and faithfulness. This is your time to reflect on the depth of God's goodness and to grow in your spiritual walk in ways you never thought possible. Your faith, refined by time, will shine as a beacon of hope and encouragement to others. And as you continue to grow spiritually, you will leave behind a legacy that points others to the one who is the source of all hope, strength, and peace. At 60, you stand at a remarkable point in your life, where your influence holds a weight that it didn't have when you were younger. With age comes authority, and this authority is not merely the product of time, but the result of experience, wisdom, and the deep understanding that only comes from walking through life's trials, triumphs, and seasons of growth. When you are younger, you may have spoken with passion or excitement, but now, at 60, you speak with the authority that comes from living the lessons you once only heard about or read about. You've weathered storms, celebrated victories, and learned invaluable truths about life, relationships, faith, and purpose. Your words carry weight, not because of your position, but because of the experiences that have shaped you and the wisdom that now flows from your heart. This is no small thing. Your influence is not to be taken lightly. At 60, your ability to guide, mentor, and teach those who are younger than you is more critical than ever. The generations coming behind you are looking for direction. They need to see someone who has walked the path of life with faith and integrity, someone who understands the struggles they face and can offer a perspective grounded in experience. And you are that person. You are called to guide them on the path of righteousness and purpose. God has equipped you with a depth of wisdom that only time and trust in Him can produce. This wisdom is not just for your own benefit. It is to be shared. It is your responsibility to speak into the lives of those who need guidance, to use your influence to steer others towards truth, and to help those who are lost or uncertain find their way. Your influence is not only limited to your family or close friends. It extends to your community, your workplace, and even to those who cross your path in everyday life. With age comes the privilege of being heard. When you speak, people listen, not because of your title, but because they know you have lived through things they are only beginning to experience. Your words have the power to comfort, to challenge, and to change the direction of someone's life. But this authority is not for personal gain or status. It is a responsibility. You are called to use your influence to advance God's kingdom, to guide others towards righteousness, and to help them realize their own purpose in life. Your life is a testimony of faith, of perseverance, and of God's unchanging love. And as someone who has lived through many seasons, you now have a responsibility to pass on what you have learned. At 60, you have earned the right to speak with authority. This authority is rooted in the wisdom you have gained through experience, but it is also empowered by the Holy Spirit. When you speak words of encouragement, wisdom, and truth, you do so not in your own strength, but in the strength of God. His wisdom flows through you, and it's this divine authority that makes your influence so powerful. In every season of life, you are given opportunities to make a difference. At 60, you have the chance to make a lasting impact. The authority you possess is a gift from God, one that you are to use wisely. Your influence is not for your benefit. It is for the benefit of others. You are called to serve, to lead, to teach, and to inspire those around you. As you move forward, remember that your influence is a tool to shape the lives of others. Guide them in the path of righteousness. Encourage them to fulfill their God-given purpose, and help them to walk in the authority that only comes from trusting in God. At 60, your words matter more than ever. Your influence is a gift, and you are called to use it to reflect God's love, truth, and guidance in a world that desperately needs it. You have earned the right to speak with authority, and now is the time to use that authority to make a difference in the lives of others. At 60, it's easy to believe that the best part of your life is behind you, that the time for action has passed and now is a season for rest. But I challenge you to rethink that mindset. Just because you've lived many years, it doesn't mean it's time to slow down or retire from the work God has called you to do. In fact, God is keeping you alive because He still has work for you to do. Your mission is not complete. And this is a call to rise up and take action. God has a purpose for your life that extends far beyond your younger years. Yes, you've accumulated wisdom, experience, and knowledge, but these are not the final achievements of your life. They are tools that God has given you to fulfill a greater purpose in this season. The Bible is full of examples of people who didn't slow down with age, but rather became stronger, more influential, and more committed to their mission as they grew older. Moses, for example, led the Israelites to freedom when he was well over 80 years old. Caleb, even in his old age, refused to accept defeat and demanded the land God had promised him. God kept them alive for a reason. He was not finished with them. Likewise, God is not finished with you. You might feel like you've done enough, but God is calling you to rise up. This is not the time to rest and relax. This is the time to press forward with renewed vigor and purpose. Age is not a barrier to impact. It is an opportunity for greater influence. The years you have lived have prepared you for this moment. You are stronger, wiser, and more equipped than ever to lead, to serve, and to make a difference in the world. The world is in desperate need of the wisdom and perspective that only someone with your life experience can provide. You are uniquely positioned to guide others, to mentor those who are struggling, and to serve in ways that younger generations cannot. Your influence has never been more needed, and God is calling you to rise to the occasion. Whether it's in your family, your community, your church, or your workplace, there is still work for you to do. You are not simply a spectator in the latter years of your life. You are a vital participant in God's kingdom. Your voice still matters. Your actions still have the power to change lives. You have been entrusted with gifts, talents, and a wealth of knowledge that can influence and impact those around you. God is calling you to take action, to continue serving, to be a leader who shows the world that age does not define your purpose. Your purpose is defined by God. There is a mission that only you can fulfill, a legacy that only you can leave. Your life has been a preparation for this moment, and the years ahead are filled with the opportunity to make an even greater impact than you ever imagined. Don't let the passing of time convince you that your best days are behind you. They are still ahead of you. God has kept you alive for such a time as this. He is calling you to rise, to lead, to serve, and to show the world that age is not a hindrance to greatness. It is an opportunity to serve with greater strength, greater wisdom, and greater purpose. The work is not over. It is just beginning. So, rise up, step into your calling, and show the world that your age is not a limitation. It is a testimony of God's faithfulness, His provision, and His ongoing purpose for your life. Your mission is far from complete, and God has greater things in store for you in this season of life than you might ever have dreamed. As we reflect on this journey of life, we must recognize that age is not a limitation, it is a divine opportunity. At 60, you are not simply surviving the passage of time, you are standing at the threshold of a season that is full of purpose, potential, and power. God has kept you alive not to sit back and relax, but to rise, to serve, and to fulfill the mission He has uniquely assigned to you. You have walked through the trials and victories of life, and with each year you have accumulated wisdom, knowledge, and experience that have shaped you into a person of great influence. And now, in this season, that influence is needed more than ever. Your life is not finished. It is just beginning. The legacy you are called to leave is not only for your children and grandchildren, but for generations to come. You have the power to shape lives, to guide others, and to speak with authority born from the very lessons you have lived. God has invested in you, and He expects a return on that investment. He has refined you through the years, and now He is calling you to deepen your relationship with Him, to live out the wisdom He has poured into you, and to lead with a boldness that reflects His kingdom on earth. You are not here by accident. You are a living testament to God's faithfulness and His divine purpose, and your greatest work is still ahead of you. So I urge you, do not allow the passing of time to convince you that your best years are behind you. Your best years are now. This is your season to rise and take action. This is your season to leave a legacy of faith, of wisdom, of love, and of purpose. You are not done. God has placed in you everything you need to fulfill your mission, and He has kept you alive for such a time as this. Rise up, walk in your authority, and embrace the impact you are called to make. Age is not a barrier. It is a blessing, a testimony, and an opportunity to serve with greater strength, greater wisdom, and greater faith. You are here to show the world that there is no age limit to greatness, to influence, or to fulfilling your divine purpose. God has a plan for you, a plan that is unfolding now. Embrace it with confidence, with boldness, and with the assurance that the best is yet to come. You are not just living, you are living out the greatest calling of your life. Let your life be a beacon of hope, a reflection of God's glory, and a testimony to the generations that age is but a tool for greater impact. Now is your time. Rise and fulfill your purpose.